play, President Obama's second choice for his first official interview. Second choice.
Yes, and remember when I told you we should rename the show Al Arabia? No, everyone said no. Screensaver's going to want that one.
I'm Morgan Webb.
And I'm Adam Sessler. We're coming to you from the G4 studios in Los Angeles. Now, coming up, we preview Champions Online, the new superhero-themed MMO for the PC and the Xbox 360.
Nerd alert! We have got a special installment of Fresh Ink, which features comic books for video games. It's got dueling glares.
Plus, I learned what it's like to play the most dangerous game with Ratty in a very touching segment that somehow slipped by the censors.
Then we go all access with Infamous. Kristen Adams has the very latest on this open-world superhero epic.
And if you spend more time dead than alive in Gears 2 multiplayer, Pro Gamer T Squared has some very helpful advice.
But first, if you're a fan of City of Heroes, you might consider the people over at Cryptic Studios to be devious supervillains. That's because they have another MMO on the way, this one based on the classic Champions role-playing series. So yes, you could be out 2 monthly fees. You'll see why in this preview. A massively multiplayer online game based around superheroes sounds like a great proposal, which is probably why Cryptic Studios created the City of Heroes, City of Villains franchise. If the idea of the very same studio producing another superhero MMO seems a little, well, obvious, never fear. Besides possessing mighty strength, the ability to leap tall buildings and all that jazz, Champions Online's greatest superpower may in fact be that it will play seamlessly on your Xbox 360. And you'll still be able to play on your trusty PC. Cryptic is known for the insane amount of detail allowed for character creation in City of Heroes, but that detail is taken to an even higher level in Champions Online. Not only will you be able to customize your character's physical attributes, you'll also have full control over your costume, your powers, and even your nemesis. That's right, you get to create and name your own arch-villain, who will harangue you as you go about saving the local citizenry. Visually, Champions Online brings totally fresh look to the world of MMOs. There's a unique graphic novel style that really adds to the tone and content of the game, and we look forward to exploring the entire universe. But what everybody really wants to know about is the gameplay. Yes, you'll be able to hook up your keyboard for easier organization for your abilities, but it's not necessary. Champions plays more like a third-person action game than any MMO we've seen so far. Combat moves quickly like a console game would, which should be expected. As for the massively multiplayer aspect, you can lone wolf your way through much of the world, but there are missions that will require you to group up and form your own Justice League. Let's just say Guild of Do-Gooders. Champions Online is scheduled to fly onto shelves later this spring, so we'll keep our eyes on the skies, superhero fans.
If anyone ever has a question about comics in the office, all they have to do is yell, Blair! And then you wait for an answer.
That's because we have two Blairs, Blair Herter and Blair Butler, and they are both perpetually bagging, boarding, and nerding. Are all Blairs like this?
I don't know. Well, we put these two of them in a room to get their thoughts on the latest video game comics in a special Fresh Ink.
Let's start out with Gears of War. Obviously, I played the game, you played the game. I love me some Horde mode, I'll tell you that much. There's a comic book out there that Wildstorm put out. It's Gears of War comic, and it's actually a comic that fits between the first and second game, so it's kind of a prequel to the second game. It focuses on a newer gear named Jace, who winds up serving with Dom and Marcus. And so far, you know, it's a little run-of-the-mill, not adding a lot to the characters, not adding a lot that's necessary or integral to the story of the game. I think it's something that people who love the game will want to check out, but I don't know if they're going to keep reading too far after the first issue, because for this one, I felt like, you know, what's more fun than this is still using a sniper rifle on Horde mode to make people's heads explode.
So you have something that actually is good.
Yeah,
really good.
I have something that actually enhances the gameplay. This is Dead Space. It's a prequel comic book graphic novel that precedes the game. And as you're reading the comic, not only is it explaining some of the weird writing that you found on the walls in the game, explains all the characters, and in fact, the audio diaries that you pick up throughout the game belong to some of the characters in this prequel comic that talks about finding the marker. You know what the great thing is? It's really well written. This comic stands on its own. It'd be a great comic all by itself. But when you couple that with the game and the back and forth of having played the game, it's a blast. So I think if you love the game and you're someone who wants to play through the game again, read this in between your first and second playthrough, or read this before you play the game. It's a great setup for the game. And if you read it after you play the game, hey, it gives you a lot more insight into the plot. So solid stuff.
All right, well, if I didn't own it already, I would go on that recommendation right there. Cool. Blair Square. So nice to have that conversation with a Blair, not in my bathroom mirror. But the comic book bliss does not end there. The two Blairs will team up once again next month when we head to the New York Comic Con. Tune in to G4 for our coverage. Now, whether or not I actually do any actual work there remains to be seen. But for now, let's send it back over to Cessla.
Oh, we'll find a way to make you work. We'll find a way. All right, I'm not that big a fan of hunting. It's not because I'm a huge animal rights activist or anything. Sarah McLaughlin, you're not helping matters. No, it mostly has to do with the time that I found myself being hunted for sport. Relive my nightmare, please, in this X-Play Classic. You know, Rowdy, I played a lot of hunting games before, but I've never actually been hunting.
Shut up, I hate nature. There's ticks and poison sumac, and it's tough to find a good hooker. The only reason I came out here is shoot defenseless animals.
Ah, I know that feeling. Anyone who's ever picked up a light gun knows that feeling. We all got our first taste of hunting on the consoles when Nintendo released Duck Hunt. I spent hours on end in my living room blind firing virtual birdshot.
Duck Hunt is totally unrealistic. The only shotgun that can reload that fast is a Remington 20-gauge Paul Revere Walmart limited edition. And we all know only autistic kids and Republicans use that gun.
All right, I'm finding this conversation morally reprehensible.
There's only one animal I can hunt that's dangerous enough to give me that thrill.
Star Jones?
No, even more dangerous. But what?
Duck Hunt spawned a whole flock of other hunting games. Once they broke into 3D, the genre flourished. PCs and game consoles and trailer parks all across the country hummed with simulated crouching, simulated reloading, and simulated boredom.
All right, it's time.
Time for what, Ratty?
Time for me to shoot you.
Hey, that's sick. I'm not gonna let you deprive all 11 X-Play fans of their favorite co-host.
No bullets. What do you think of stupid, Cessla?
You know, we can talk this out, Ratty.
Yeah, right, dildo. Start running.
No.
Boom, boom, boom. Ow. Cessla, come out and play. I can smell your fear.
It's not fear, it's tinkle.
What's the difference? I have you in my sights.
Oh.
Great Thurman's ghost. Look at the size of it. He's got to be a 2-pounder at least.
Oh, Ratty, no!
Hey, that Varmint was going to shoot you.
He's more of a man than you'll ever be. No!
Oh.
Adam, I gotta tell you something.
Okay.
Closer. Closer.
Oh, you're not gonna bite me, are you?
No. Closer.
Okay.
I always hated you. Now eat my furry balls.
There goes the best friend that I'll ever have.
What's a pretty young thing like you looking so sad for? Hold me.
I'd block that out. Okay, time now for the day's top headlines in the gaming update.
First up, we've got brand new Fallout 3 downloadable content, also known as Operation Anchorage, and a great reason to call in sick. Gamers who own either the Xbox 360 or PC version of the game can now help liberate Anchorage, Alaska by entering a top-secret battle simulator. The quest will allow players access to new equipment, including the Gauss rifle, winterized T-51B power armor, and Chinese stealth armor. And to top it all off, the pack also includes an exclusive new perk and 100 new achievement points. The Operation Anchorage pack will set you back 800 Microsoft points. This, my friends, is definitely not horse armor. Next, it's time for one hell of a patch roundup, courtesy of the developers of Resistance 2, Unreal 3, and MotorStorm Pacific Rift. Also, that music indicates this is the last time that Ned Beatty watched our show. Insomniac Games has fixed the multiplayer progression and leveling in Resistance 2. They've also added miscellaneous clan support and disabled weapon swaps during melee attacks. Meanwhile, the folks over at Epic Games have added 57 Steam achievements to Unreal Tournament 3. The game's menus received a major overhaul, along with numerous fixes to vehicles, weapons, and overall gameplay. And finally, MotorStorm Pacific Rift will soon receive its first major update to help prevent some saved data corruption and fix an exploit found in the game's boost system. Perhaps best of all, any and all glitch time attacks will be removed from the leaderboards. Well, that's it for today's gaming update. For the latest news, website, g4tv.com/xplay. Stick around. There's plenty more on the way. The announcer guy has got all the details.
Coming up on X-Play, who said electrocution isn't a crime deterrent? We hit the streets and juice in the name of justice in our all-access look at Infamous for the PS3. Then Pro Gamer T-Squared will have some Gears of War 2 tips that will have you chainsawing your way up the leaderboards. Plus, it's all the LittleBigPlanet levels we can get behind. We found the best of the best so you don't have to. All this and more. Don't miss it.
Welcome back to X-Play. Infamous gives players the ability to wield electricity like a comic book character, yet spares them the embarrassing tacky green spandex. Kristen Adams has your all-access look at the game. I'm here with Brian Fleming, one of the founders and producers of Infamous. Thanks for talking with us.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, I want to know all about this game. At this point, we know that Cole can manipulate electricity.
That's right.
And we know that he can shoot out lightning Emperor style.
Sure.
What else can he do?
It's not just I can shoot lightning bolts and fry that dude over there. It's I can chain the lightning up through this structure and electrify the guys who are standing on the roof.
Do his powers affect the citizens ever?
They react to his good deeds and his evil deeds. You know, if I walk around and start punching or frying pedestrians, then you better believe they're going to form a brute squad and come after me.
I know this is really hush-hush, but tell me what you can. Talk to me about karma.
Well, I sort of hinted at it a little bit, and maybe as much as I can, I'll say everything has implications. And so you should expect that people will react, and you'll see if you've rescued a bunch of people in this area, you might even see posters of yourself. On the other hand, if you are kind of wantonly destroying the neighborhoods, you should expect that the people will hate you. And
You reap what you sow.
Exactly.
What risks did you take with Infamous?
Well, I think the first risk we had to take was deciding to leave a genre of, the Sly Cooper series, which we dearly love. So we took the PS3, switching to a realistic setting and a giant open environment game, all in one go for us. And I think also in the space of superhero games, the big, elephants in the room are all these established franchises. The Hulk, Batman, Spider-Man, Superman. And, it takes a certain kind of crazy to decide you're going to go create a new IP in that space and grow a superhero out of that.
That's why I love it.
Yeah.
That's me. I already love it. So.
Well, we've sold one copy, it sounds
Yay!
like.
Only in the games industry will someone think of Infamous as being in a realistic setting. And we all agree.
Yeah.
Anyway, Infamous is a PS3 exclusive and facing a surprising amount of competition this spring.
Here are the PS3's top 5 sellers. It's today's X list.
Coming in at number 5 is The Lord of the Rings Conquest. I think the game would have placed higher if it had Bill Cosby's voiceover. Number 4 is Skate 2, Skate Harder. How can the same thing happen to the same skater twice?
Coming in at number 3 is Resident Evil 5, or as I like to call it, game where no one moves and shoots at the same time. Apparently gamers are pre-ordering this in droves.
Number 2 is Street Fighter 4, the game that causes absolutely no work to be done around the X-Play offices. Capcom should have never sent it to us.
But the number 1 seller is Killzone 2. We can't wait to find out the next chapter in, what exactly happened in the first game again?
I think some people died.
Everyone gets killed playing online games, but Gears of War 2 makes defeats painful and humiliating. If you want to be the player who's not a pile of gore in Gold Rush, follow these tips by pro gamer T-Squared.
What's up, everybody? I'm Tom Taylor. But you may know me as T-Squared. I'm captain of the MLG team, Straight Rippin'. I have the Gears of War 2 tips. They'll have you bragging like a pro. My first tip is grab a handful of hamburgers.
Don't worry,
Make use of that meat shield, baby. I know it's tempting to finish off a downed enemy with a little bit of curb stomp action, meat snap, or a little round of shotgun golf. Or I love him as much as the next guy, but you're screwing yourself over. Grab that noob by the neck, pick him up, and protect your ass. Well, everything but your ass. Lanterns can't chop through it, nades can't blow through it. So grab one of those big pistols, snatch some half-dead sucker off the ground, and charge into the roof. You'll run over the competition. If you find yourself becoming the meat shield more than using the meat shield, there's something wrong. It's time for a little revenge. When you're down, you're not out. Don't give up without a fight. Make sure you save a frag for that last-minute tag. While you're waiting to die, slap one on that sucker when he's trying to embarrass you. Look who's laughing now. Ha ha ha. Finally, make good use of the melee. When you roll up on an enemy, give them the old 1-2. 1 being a melee to the face. 2 being the follow-up shotgun blast. 1, 2, dead.
back in your hole.
Follow these tips, and you'll be cutting up the competition in no time.
When X-Play returns, we'll tell you all about the downloadable Little Big Planet levels that are worthy of our seal of approval. Don't move. Welcome back to X-Play. Now, thanks to Little Big Planet, any gamer can be a budding level designer. This gives you the opportunity to discover masterpieces made by unknown artists, or gigantic pieces of crap made by morons. Lucky for you, all of these Little Big Planet levels are recommended by X-Play. Hopefully by now you followed our advice and checked out some of the amazing user-created Little Big Planet levels. But your job isn't done just yet, because there's more where that came from. You'll have a blast exploring the human body. And best of all, this exploration won't result in you feeling dirty and ashamed. After you hop in the shrinking machine, you get to enter the body and fight some viruses. And while you're there, you might as well give the brain a good cleaning, try your hand at repairing a pacemaker, and tour the intestines. But it doesn't end there. There's more body for you to enjoy. And this time you get the chance to kill some head lice, perform a little ear maintenance, and even try your hand at laser eye surgery. It's all the fun of 9th grade health class, but without the emphasis on chlamydia. And you may or may not be familiar with this tale, but that won't stop you from climbing the Tree of Life and taking a cruise on a Viking ship. So even if you're not an expert on Norse mythology, you can still appreciate how cool this level is. Next, it's time to bust Sackboy out of the slammer. And for your own peace of mind, assume that he's incarcerated for a totally non-violent crime. travel through an underground tunnel, dodge the prison searchlight, and make your way to the safe house. But that's not all. You also need to prove yourself to your criminal pals by robbing a bank. And finally, Jack McSetback and the Spiky Stone of Doom is a great adventure. You're on a mission to find a golden idol located in an old Sakastanian temple. But the real challenge lies in getting past the traps and out of the temple. So get back to work and play these levels. You won't be sorry.
Tomorrow on X-Play, we have 3 reviews locked and loaded. Be here for the brutally honest word on the new and enhanced Star Ocean Second Evolution, the first-person shooter for the DS, Moon, and Mario Power Tennis for the Wii. Then we'll fight over T-Energy when we preview the console version of Sacred 2 Fallen Angel. Plus, Kristen Adams will be here with a Gears of War 2 cheat that'll have you nabbing every last collectible. Yeah, it's tedious, but you want the achievement, don't you? Then we check in on Drunk Link and find out why he isn't making a new Legend of Zelda game. The results are not pretty. X-Play's all new at 8. Don't miss it.
We love making everyone dress up in spandex costumes around here.
Yes, and do the Deer Hunter. I think we've done more for Michael Cimino than he has. Oh, and this will be coming up too.
Yeah, so everyone needs to kind of check that out.
What will they be looking at? What pair could it be? It could just be another episode of X-Play that's coming up next.
Thanks for watching.